I want to welcome you to this beautiful space of biodiversity, of squirrels running freely, and geese enjoying a calm life, of swans hanging out by the lake, clean waters and lush trees. This was my day in Kew Gardens. Okay, so I might have over-romanticized this place a little bit, but I was super excited to go here. And it honestly exceeded my expectations a lot. Probably because I didn't have too many expectations to begin with. If you know me, you know that I love to be in the park. To sit in a park that is well designed with a variety of trees and flowers. Short said, I like parks. I specifically went to this one because of the Palm House. It's the oldest surviving Victorian glass house. It was completed in 1848 and it was featured in the first ever World Expo. So today they are one of the leading organizations in plant and fungal science. They have one of the biggest collections of botanical information in the world, and they have the largest collection of fungi in the world. They also house a huge amount of endangered species, and they support conservation work and botanical science projects. I went to Kew Gardens in the afternoon, and I didn't realize they closed the actual glass houses earlier than they closed the park. So I only had half an hour to look around. I brought my analog camera this day and I was shooting like crazy because everything was so beautiful. I stumbled across the Temperate House, which was already closed by the time I got there, and at that point I knew I had to come back. I had no idea the Temperate House existed, to be completely honest. So therefore I also didn't know that it was twice the size of the Palm House. And it's still the largest Victorian glass house to exist on this planet. I've always found traveling to be a great way to gain new perspective on things. It's important to take a break from whatever you're doing and reflect to recharge on your energies. I think a great way to do this is to leave your normal surroundings completely. If you're not able to leave your town, go to places you've never been. I was listening to The Diary of the CEO with Joe Dispenza as a guest, and he had a theory on why people relapse. Some of the things he said was, normally you have some interaction that causes you to feel a certain way and you return back to your past. So when you see something related to the past experience, you behave in the past and you think in the past. Your neocortex, your thinking brain, is a reflection of everything you know in life. It's an artifact of the past. It's a record of everything you've learned and experienced until this day. Your brain is a reflection of everything that's known. So because you've experienced these things in your environment, there is an emotion associated to it, to different people, objects, things, places, times, identities. when you put a person in the same environment and they see the same people, they do the same things, they go to the same places, it's no longer their personality that's creating their reality. It's their environment controlling subconsciously what they're thinking and feeling. So when you see people you know, you see them as a memory of the past. And since every person has an emotion associated with them, you start feeling this emotion. So in conclusion, he said that change is to be greater than your environment. To think, to act, and to feel differently in the same conditions. That is change. This explains why I feel like I see things differently after I've been traveling or visiting another place. This also explains why it's harder to change your habits in the same environment that have the same triggers to your habits. So when you leave your environment, you're able to become more aware of your current patterns and actually create another association. So when I see new things, new places, new people, it also makes it easier for me to see new ideas to existing challenges. I think in this way it becomes a lot less daunting, because you kind of can see it more from a bird's perspective rather than being entangled into everything. I think the lens you see things through as well is more objective. Going somewhere new also forces you to stay in the present. What often happens when you're in the same environment all the time, doing the same things and having the same routines over and over again, if you're not conscious of it, you start to work in autopilot. It's a natural way of the brain to adapt to the same situations. It's a way of taking away some of the decision-making process of the day, to spend less energy on situations that occur frequently, so that you have more energy on other situations. But it doesn't always work out in your favor. When your mind turns to autopilot, you can miss out on new ways to think, new ways to solve problems, opportunities that present themselves that you don't see because you're not aware of your surroundings. A study from the National Science Foundation said that we have between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts a day. This can be a great thing if they were thoughts of positivity, of opportunities, growth, kindness. But the study also found that 80% of these thoughts were negative. Negative thoughts are inevitable and will always be there. But my personal opinion is that 80% is quite high. Especially when they're repeated again and again and again. Our thoughts strengthens our belief systems. So when we think something is true, we will naturally try to find something to prove the point. This is called confirmation bias. This is when we search for, interpret, and recall information in a way that supports our belief and our thoughts. So when you're walking around every day, you are unconsciously looking for things to confirm that what you think is right. That's why being unconscious of your thoughts can bring you down in a downhill spiral. When your insecurities and negative beliefs can be magnified by the constant confirmation you are giving it from the things you see in the external world. Being able to focus on certain things is a natural way of being. It would be exhausting to walk around in the world and notice every little detail. Every leaf on a tree, every detail of the people you walk past, every road name, everything about the car that drove past you, every dog and whose owner it is. It would be absolutely impossible, and it would also be such an overwhelming sensory experience. So we usually notice things through the lens of our experiences and our belief systems. And unfortunately, the majority of us do have a negative belief system of the world or of ourselves. And it's true that if we get 99 compliments, but one negative comment, then the negative comment is going to be what we focus on. Humans have a negativity bias. This means that losing something can have double the impact as the pleasure of gaining something. But the negativity bias is really here to help us, so that if something bad happens, it will affect us more, and in that way we'll be able to avoid it in the future. So what we are really doing is constantly looking for a potential threat as a way of keeping ourselves alive. But this might not always be the best thing for our mental health. So it's important to be conscious of your own thought patterns to see how they either help you or might sabotage you. Even noticing one negative thought and understanding where the thought was born can be an incredible help. That way you can slowly create a shift and replace the thought with something that is more productive and that can help you rather than potentially stressing you out. So one way I like to do this is through journaling. Through journaling, you can see the thoughts, black and white, on paper. This strengthens the awareness of it and reinforces the memory rather than only relying on you remembering the thought. As I said previously, you have tens of thousands of thoughts a day. So although the thought you have is significant, it will most likely be washed away from all of the other fleeting thoughts you have throughout the day. Not only can you use journaling to become more aware of your existing thoughts, you can also use it to introduce new ones and to remember new ideas you come across. That too can be forgotten if you don't consciously save it somewhere. When I have new ideas and thoughts about something on the go, I like to create a note on my phone so I can come back to it later. The origins of Kew Gardens can be traced to the merging of several royal estates in the late 1800s. Queen Charlotte's Cottage was built in the early 1770s. I honestly didn't register completely whose house it was, but if anyone has seen the Bridgerton spin-off, Queen Charlotte, you know what queen I'm talking about.
Cottage. So when Charlotte and her children wanted to get away from the busyness of Kew Palace, they'd come down here with their servants and they'd have picnics upstairs.
The Kew Palace, which is a bit further away on the plot, served as a summer house for King George in the 18th century. Queen Charlotte and her family used Kew as a summer retreat where they would relax in the gardens away from the public eye. George was also sent there to recover from his illness. But if you watch this show or know a bit of the history, it did more harm than good. You can actually visit the palace and still see possessions belonging to King George and Queen Charlotte, but I got there too late to actually go inside. When Queen Charlotte died in 1818, the Kew Palace was closed off. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, I want to thank you for sticking around. If you like this type of video format, let me know because I'm still learning. And I hope to see you next time.